Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Benga Adeyemo. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a senior business data analyst. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. I am also a Microsoft certified Power BI data analyst associate. I lead two communities at the moment, two data communities, the Winnipeg Power Platform User Group and also Data Jobs Niger. I have more than 5 years of work experience. I'm a technical trainer with a track record of delivering excellent classes and sections, especially on Microsoft technologies, to over 3,000 students. I have worked in various sectors such as healthcare, manufacturing, logistics, and retail. And I will tell you that I love healthcare the most, right? Over the years, I have been able to deploy numerous solutions in various organizations in terms of data analytics and Power Platform. My technical skills are in Microsoft Excel, Power BI, SQL, SQL Server Integration Services, which is SSIS, SQL Server Analysis Services, which is SSAS, the Microsoft Fabric, Power Apps, the model-driven and the Canvas app, and also in Power Automate. So today, I'm going to talk to you about Microsoft Excel. This video today is meant to show you the basic thing you need to know about Microsoft Excel. So Microsoft Excel is an electronic spreadsheet application. Now let's stop there and let's start analyzing this definition. Now, what do we mean by electronic spreadsheet application? It means that Excel is installed, right? It's being used on a computer system. Now let's take a good look, an example of a paper spreadsheet. Now, this is how a paper spreadsheet looks like, right? It is a physical paper that people manually use either pen or marker to write out all the calculations manually, or else if they have some kind of metrics and KPIs they want to showcase, they can write it out here and show their calculations and paste these on a board in their office where everybody can have access to see information pertaining to whatever they are trying to showcase, right? So comparing Excel to a paper spreadsheet, Excel is electronic, while a paper spreadsheet is a physical paper spreadsheet, right? Um, Excel allows users, who are the users? Me and you, we are the users. Excel allows us to actually store data, right? Organize the data, in a very appropriate way that we can use it for analysis, right? Excel allows us to perform calculation and manipulation. Now I'm going to make you understand this. When we say calculation in Excel, it means that we are using either Excel functions or we are doing what is called cell referencing in order for us to get a desired result, right? Manipulation, on the other hand, in the context of this definition, has to do with us trying to restructure, a given data, trying to change the structure of a given data, right? Excel uses formulas, right? So now let me go back and explain difference between functions and formulas. I'm still going to go deeper later, but let me just give you a basic background. So when we say functions in Excel, functions are predefined. That is, they are built inside the Excel application. You don't need any extra installation for you to be able to use Excel functions. They come with the application as you install Microsoft Excel, right? But formulas on the other end, formulas are user defined. It means that you as a user, based on the desired result, your end goal, right? Based on the kind of operation you want to carry out, determines how you combine different functions together and cell referencing in order to get a desired result, right? So that's the basic difference between a formula and a function in Excel, right? Now, Excel as a spreadsheet system is broken up by rows and columns, right? When we talk of rows, we are talking about the horizontal line, right? That has, cells from your right to your left or your left to your right. But when we talk of columns, right? We are talking of vertical. That is, your data pile up in different cells from up to down and also down to up, right? That is what we mean by column, right? Another good thing is that Excel provides us with that flexibility, right? To use external database to do analysis. It means that you can connect Excel to some specified um, database management systems for you to, start building your reports. Excel helps us in our daily life, our daily activities, right? By helping us to, saving us a lot of time in terms of helping us to be able to do some automation of some task which we would have done manually, right? So Excel has a lot of advantages. So Excel is used by millions of people around the world, different organizations. You can use Excel to achieve a lot of analysis, a lot of reporting, a lot of data. You can use Excel to save some of your data, your financial data, your procurement data, your sales data, right? And Excel helps you to be able to be more productive in your work, right? Now, let's go to ribbon, the concept of ribbon, right? What is a ribbon? Ribbon is that topmost part of your Excel application interface that allows you to organize different features and commands, right, into series of tabs. Now, your ribbon is structured as follows. Number one, we have tabs. Examples of the different tabs that we have. Let me open the Excel spreadsheet so that you can see, right? We have your home, inserts, your draw, your layout. These are all called tabs. Now, from this line here upwards is your ribbon, right? The topmost parts of your Excel application, right? Now, all of this home, insert, draw, pay layout, and the rest, they are all called tabs, right? Now, we also have what is called groups, right? Now, each tab is divided into groups. Each tab is divided into groups, right? Each tab. Now, let's take a look at that. Look at the different groupings that we have. Let's go to insert, for example. We have tables, we have controls, we have charts, we have sparkline. You see that there's a line in between all of these different groups, right? Based on their functionality, based on what they can do, that is that is the reason why we have them in different groups, right? So under each of the tabs, in summary, we have groupings based on different functionalities, right? Now let's go back. Another thing that we must also know here is that we also have commands. We also have commands, right? Individual tools of options like button, drop down, or menu that perform some specific task, right? Or are called commands. Now, in summary, a ribbon is dynamic, is customizable, and it can be minimized or expanded for more screen space. That is, you can customize your ribbon the way you want it to be, the kind of groupings and commands you want it to show or to appear under each of the different tabs. You can customize them the way you want to, right? So that is something interesting to know. Okay, let's go ahead. Also, let's look at the difference between row and column. Now, as I said earlier, that your row run horizontally across the worksheet, right? Horizontally means left to right or right to left. Your column, on the other hand, run vertically, right? From up to down or down up, right? Your rows are identified by numbers, for example, 1, 2, 3, and for columns, they're identified by A, B, C, A, B, and more, right? For your row contains cells arranged side by side. For column, it contains cells stacked on top of one another, right? Row 1, for example, is the first horizontal line of cells. For example, column A is the first vertical line of cells. Now, let's go to the Excel application now. Now, if you see what I'm highlighting here, this is your row, right? What I'm highlighting on the other hand here is your column. Now, the meeting point of your row and your column is called the cell, right? Now, if you look at where my cursor is here, this part here is called the name box. So any of the cell you are clicking on, the cell number is going to be appearing here, right? Also on this part here, you will see what is called the formula bar. So anything you are typing in your cell, you also see it appear in your formula bar. And also you can use your formula bar to also edit whatever information you have in your cell, right? So that is just one of the basic things that you need to know about your Excel application, right? Okay, let's go ahead. And the next thing I want to also talk to you about is that there are different data formats that Excel recognizes, and Excel allows you to store your data in all of these different data formats. These are just examples. There are more than, I think, 10 to 15 different data formats that Excel recognizes and allows you to store your data, right? Now let's take an example. We have number. Okay, if you look at what I have here, number, you see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excel recognizes this as a number, right? You can also put it as you can also go and set the data type, right? For example, if I type this number here, I can go here and change it um, to number data type, right? Excel recognizes that, right? Excel recognizes currency. So if I want to change this to a currency, I'm going to be clicking on this currency symbol here. Then it's going to change, add a currency symbol in front of this. Now, when you look at this, you will see that by default, what I have is a dollar currency. Now I can go here and see all other sample currency or go to more accounting formats. Then I come here, I can see a whole lot of different currencies. I can change my this particular cell to, right? Now, Excel recognizes dates, right? Excel recognizes dates, and it can allow you change the data type to dates to file it in the right format. So, for example, I have 2024, 11, 16. It means the 16th of November, 2024 is a year, months, and day format, right? I can when I click outside and click back, Excel recognizes this as a date, right? Now, Excel recognizes percentage, right? Excel can store a data as percentage. Excel allows you to store your data in terms of percentage. So look at here now, when I click outside of here, I click back, for example, you see that on this part here is telling me that this particular cell data type is percentage, right? Now look at this one, text. Now, if I type, I am a boy, automatically it might not show you that is a text, but you can go here and change it to text by yourself, right? So these are examples of the different data types that Excel recognizes and allows us to store our data, right? Now, one very interesting thing I'm going to be showing us here is the difference between functions and formulas in Excel. Many people, think that these two are the same, right? But in the real context of things, the two are different, right? Now, let's look at the definition here. Let's look at what we have here. Now, functions are predefined operations in Excel, right, that perform specific tasks. For example, your sum function, your average function, your VLOOKUP function, they are predefined. They are built inside the Excel application. You don't need to do anything extra for you to be able to use them, right? And when you install the application, it comes with the application, right? So they are built-in functions that allows you perform predefined operations in Excel, right? For example, your sum function, you can use that to add up different numbers in different cell range, right? Now, formulas, on the other hand, are custom calculations. That is, they are user defined. You as a user, depending on the output you want, depending on the kind of solution you want to derive, will determine the kind of functions that you combine together and the kind of cell referencing that you do to give you a desired result, right? So when it comes to formulas, it's not just using different functions together, it also might entail you doing cell referencing. Let's take a look at an example of what we have here. You see an example here, A1 means your cell A1, right, plus your cell A2 multiplied by 2. Now, in this formula, for example, it does not involve the use of any Excel function, right? It's just you adding up two different cells together, then multiplying the result by 2, right? And there are some formulas that you might need to combine different Excel functions coupled with cell referencing, and operators to be able to achieve a desired result. And that is what we mean, or we call formula. Now, the difference between the two is that functions are built-in tools in Excel. Formulas are what you create by yourself, right? Sometimes using functions also to solve problems, right? Now, to lay more emphasis, this is like a tabular representation of the difference between function and formula, right? For function, you use that to perform specific operation. For example, your sum to add up numbers in different cells. Formula, on the other hand, I said earlier that they perform user-defined tasks, right? They perform user-defined tasks, right? In terms of predefinition, yes, functions are predefined, but formulas are user-defined, right? In terms of complexity, functions perform single operation, right? Average is for average. Sum is for summing up numbers, right? But for formulas, you can combine multiple operations, right? Take a look at the example we have here. We have sum open bracket A1 to A5. It means that we are summing up numbers between cell A1 to cell A5, right? That is an example of using a function. So this sum function performs the operation of adding up numbers in different range of cells. But formulas, on the other hand, you can combine operators like your plus operator here, like your multiplication operator here, and also together with a specific function, right, in Excel, a predefined function in Excel to carry out a particular process, right? Now, we can also categorize Excel functions based on three things that I have here as an example. You can categorize based on functionality. You can categorize Excel functions based on input-output nature. And you can categorize, for example, Excel functions based on use cases, right? Now, let's examine what we have under Excel categorization, Excel function categorization, rather, based on functionality. For example, mathematical and statistical functions. What are we using this for? Now we use this to perform calculations and analyze data. For example, your sum, your average, your count, your rank, right? Logical functions, we use that to perform conditional operations. For example, your if, your and, your or, your not, your if error are examples of logical functions, right? So this is us categorizing Excel functions based on their different functionalities, right? We have the text function, for example. Those ones allows us to manipulate and format text. For example, your concat, left, right, lane, and trim, right? Let's look at another functionality based on lookup and reference, right? Example here, we have your VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, match, index, and all other functions that we have under lookup and reference functions. This kind of functions allows you to search and retrieve specific data, right? Another example of Excel functions based on functionality is the date and time functions. These are functions that works with our dates and our times. Example, we have today, now, date, dated if, weekday, month. We have a whole numerous dates and time functions in Excel. We are still going to explore a lot of this in my coming videos. Right. Also, another categorization of Excel functions is functions based on input-output nature. For example, we have the array functions. These functions allows us to operate on arrays of data. For example, your transpose, your filter, your sort, sequence, etc. Right? Another example we have under this categorization based on input-output nature is the dynamic functions, right? So automatically, this one allows us to adjust outputs to data changes. For example, your unique, your sort by, your round array, right? We also have static functions, right? These return fixed results unless input changes. For example, your pi and your now. Now let's look at another categorization based on use cases, right? So we have this categorization describing Excel functions based on different use cases. For example, if you want to perform data cleaning and preparation in Excel, you can use these categories of um, functions. For example, your trim, your clean, your text splits, right? Based, if you want to perform any operation that has to do with data aggregation and summarization, right? You want to summarize large data sets. And when we say summarization in this context, we don't mean sum. Average can be summarization, right? Count can be summarization, right? So, for example, we have sum if, count if, subtotal. There are all examples of functions you can use to perform data aggregation and summarization, right? We also have functions that helps us in terms of data validation and logic, right? Functions that ensure data accuracy and integrity. Examples of this is the if error, and is NA, right? Now, if you want to perform, for example, advanced data manipulations, right? There are functions under this category that we can use. For example, the array formula, the sequence, the let. These functions allows us to perform advanced data operations. So to do a recap of what I have done today, I have taken you through the different categorization of Excel functions based on three different things. For example, based on functionality, based on input-output nature, based on use cases, right? I have showed you here the difference between Excel functions and Excel formulas, right? I have shown you examples of the different data formats and data types in Excel. I've shown you the difference between rows and columns in Excel. And also I showed you with example what a ribbon is in Excel, right? I showed you an example of a paper spreadsheet, and I also broke down the definition of Microsoft Excel. I remain my humble self. I hope to see you in my next video, where I'm going to be diving in a lot more into different topics in Microsoft Excel. See you next time. Bye for now.